Nation, Matt Davison here with 1890. It's an exciting time to be a Husker fan, and to keep that momentum going, we need your help. Nebraska has always been a leader in college athletics, and we're doing the same through name, image, and likeness. NIL is a unique opportunity for every Husker fan to have a direct impact on the success of our programs. Through 1890, 100% of your contribution goes to the student athletes. So go to 1890nebraska.com, choose your sport, become a member, and help the Huskers recruit and retain the best. Go Big Red.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
If the week's been too hectic to even think about dinner, or your family can't handle one more night of leftovers, then it's time to let Hog Wild do the cooking. Hog Wild's family packs are one heck of a good deal for a complete barbecue meal loaded with all the smoked meats, tasty sides, buns, and sauces you need to feed your family. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
The need in our community, if you just look at the numbers, it's frightening. We're serving over 1,000 kids every day. With the passion of our people, I really feel like our potential to be of even greater service to kids and families who are struggling is just unlimited. But in order to have the greatest impact, we need all the help we can get from the community.
NEBCO is hiring CDL drivers for Ready Mixed Concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. NEBCO offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they pay for CDL training. Apply today and start your new career with a $2,500 hiring bonus. From NEBCO's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
This is Coach Bill Bush. You all know my passion for Nebraska. Having coached all over the country, I can honestly say there is no place like Nebraska. You know where there's also no place like? Midwest Bank. Midwest Bank has proudly served Nebraska for over 70 years, and they're located in 9 different communities. Midwest Bank is ready, willing, and able to meet all your personal, business, and agriculture needs. Your community, your bank, and mine, Midwest Bank. Find out more at Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
Your business runs like a well-oiled machine. It's important that your actual machines do too. Stern is here to make sure you don't have to worry about that. They provide solutions for heavy equipment and automotive fuels, lubricants, and equipment guard options. And with Stern's commitment to customer service for the past 40 years, you know you have a partner to help support your operations for years to come. Contact Roger at Stern Company by calling 1-800-477-2744 or visit them online at stern.co. Stern Company, where problems meet solvers.
The Mill Coffee and Tea, formerly with only 4 Lincoln locations. Guess what?
What?
There's 5 Lincoln locations now. Oh my gosh. That's 25% more Lincoln locations than there used to be. Can you even imagine a world where there's only 4 Lincoln Mill locations? Feels like ages ago. We were all so young then. The Mill on 11th, located right alongside 93.7 The Ticket Studios, 1040 O Street.
Hey guys, it's Bill Bush. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty has opened a new location in Pender, Nebraska, in addition to their office in Lincoln. The real estate world can be confusing, so why wouldn't you want an expert helping you every step of the way? If you're looking to buy or sell farmland in Nebraska, Kansas, or Iowa, give Ethan Sorensen a call today at 402-380-0432 or visit them online at nextagrealestate.com. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty with locations in Lincoln and now Pender, Nebraska.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America.
This is the Don't Punt Hour with former Nebraska receiver.
Throwing over the middle, completes the pass. He's got speed to the end zone. Touchdown. 45 yards.
And return specialist.
This time he beats the kicker and one more.
DeMornay Pierson-El.
Not only does the sideline have confidence in Pierson-El, but Pierson-El has confidence in Pierson-El.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weeknights. Once again, Harrison Arns on the ones and twos back here at the 1040 Ticket Studios. We got the host, as always, DeMornay Pierson-El, joining us through stream. And as always, we got Royals on the airwaves, but you can still join us on the Starter Heyman text line, 402-464-5685. Put a face to the voice. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and as always, Allo Channel 961. But nonetheless, DeMornay Pierson-El, it is a beautiful Wednesday night. We got the spring game tomorrow. We got the NFL draft. We got more NHL playoffs. Even, I mean, it's a loaded time. How's it going?
It's going good. Like I said, it's just a lot of activities, a lot of good things happening today. Shout out to Reggie Bush.
Yeah, I was gonna. If we didn't even mention that, Reggie Bush gets the Heisman. They finally give it to the man. Were you expecting that all? I mean, that one kind of slipped under the radar for me. I was very surprised to see them actually backtrack, because we've seen in the past that's something they rarely ever do.
I didn't think it would happen this quick. I thought it was gonna come sooner or later. But just happy that that got resolved and whatnot.
Yeah, I felt like one of the strangest things for the longest time. I mean, he was still a Heisman. Like, no one out there thought he didn't deserve that award. So finally, a little quicker than I thought, but good to see him have it. Shout out Reggie Bush. You deserved it. It was always kind of BS that he didn't got taken away to begin with. So Reggie Bush reinstated with his Heisman. And again, we got spring game tomorrow, but real quick, let's go through some of this NBA playoffs, and then we can start talking about this Nebraska spring game coming up on Saturday. And of course, NFL mock draft as well. Who those quarterbacks going to be, wide receivers, running backs. First one's off the board. Plenty of things here. But in the NBA, I want to start with the Indiana Pacers. Whooped on the Milwaukee Bucks. And that's a team that I don't think a ton of people were fully aware of, and how good Pascal Siakam's been for him this year. Either he dropped 37 points. That's a team where you probably had to have league pass if you really want to get it in tune. They just weren't on national TV a lot. But with the Pacers stealing one on the road, they tie at 1-1. Is this one of those series you might be picking an upset?
It's 50-50. Like, it can go either way. I'm not overly impressed by both teams. Giannis is not out there, so things are switched up. They kind of got to find themselves. So, I mean, you got that, but I mean, you also have Dame and, a lot of the roster with the Bucks, I believe, were still on that roster when they won, the NBA championship. So, Indiana is just hitting a run. And I don't know if just last night was just one of those games to where it was just their night. But I mean, that's an ugly series. Like, I'm not very interested in it at all. It can go either way.
Maybe I just like Tyrese Haliburton a little too much. I think they're a fun team to watch. Now, you can't argue defensively is where your woes are going to be. And if Giannis was there, nah, I'm not picking. The biggest problem is slowing people down, and they don't have a single matchup out there that could slow Antetokounmpo down. But I will say the way their ball movement, what scares me about them is the way they are clicking right now. Because in the regular season, when their offense was humming, it stayed like that for a long time. And Tyrese Haliburton and company, they were clicking. And just the assist numbers, Haliburton with 12, but their entire starting lineup, for the most part, had 5 assists or more each. And that, accompanied with Milwaukee Bucks team that, again, trying to kind of figure out what their identity is with this no Giannis Antetokounmpo out there, I might go ahead and start swinging to the Indiana Pacers at that 6th seed position. Now, I'm not picking them in the East, but
you got 7 games. It's still early on. Regardless, anything can happen. So to say, like, I get that, with them being on a run and everything like that. But we every other day, they're watching film, they're stopping stuff, they're adding to things. Like, these teams are going to get to know each other very, very well over these next couple of games. So to say, like, oh, this is going to happen, they're consistent, but they also have shown not to be, consistent, meaning the Pacers.
Mhm.
So, I mean, they don't take me over the edge. I'm not, look out. Like, yeah, you had a good showing. But you're also playing, a team that I'm not saying that they're struggling. It's just, they don't know necessarily who to go to for, who's the head dude in charge. So, I mean, you got that thing. It's just, it's a terrible mix on both sides, and you kind of don't know what you're gonna get. By game 4, I feel like a little bit more things will be more consistent, just because both sides are iron and understand with what each other are trying to do. So it's not very exciting.
I mean, to be real, I think you could sum up most of the Eastern Conference. The Bucks, Pacers, Knicks, 76ers. Those are the ones probably grabbing your eyes.
Yeah.
Did you see the spread for the Celtics Heat game tonight?
No.
Okay, I just take a guess on what that spread is going to be.
Where is it at?
It's still going to be in Celtics. This is game 2. It's in Boston. It's outrageous. Outrageous.
I don't. Go ahead. I don't even want to take a guess.
14.5 favored. They got the Celtics favored.
Jimmy's still not playing, huh?
Yeah, I believe he's still not playing. So no, they're gonna be. So it makes a little bit of sense when you put that out there on the table as well. But Celtics, I mean, we'll get there as these NBA playoffs move on, and if the Nuggets stay in it, which I think they will on all accounts. But the Celtics maybe being overlooked a little bit because the Nuggets are kind of everybody's story, and I don't want to say overlooked because I think everyone's got them as a favorite in the East. But even in a finals matchup, the Celtics should scare just about anybody out there. They're incredibly deep. They're role players. They're starters. They have enough continuity, which I think is massive in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of why you see teams, with the Lakers, they got some of the same players, but another coach in Darvin Ham. I'm always big on continuities. With the Boston Celtics, that's a team that as we get closer, that can be an insane matchup. But if it's a Nuggets-Clippers matchup, but again, keep your eyes on that one. Knicks, 76ers. Obviously, that one's been electric as well. The Knicks currently lead that 2-0, despite not having Julius Randle out there. You talk about team where you got Giannis out for the Bucks, but the Knicks figure out a way to get it done regardless as well. So shout out to Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Villanova and company. Essentially, that is a heavy Villanova roster. Maybe that goes to the continuity, but the Knicks have been just an incredibly fun team to watch. Dolan's probably been begging for it for years to kind of save his own reputation out there. But let's talk about one more series, Clippers and Mavericks. Clippers and Mavericks has been exceptional. Game 1 was pretty boring. Game 2, Luka came out and he was dominant for the most part. Hits the dagger 3 at the end. We had a little conversation. Definitely flops a little bit, but you can point to about 50% of the NBA guards and be annoyed with that. But I will say the Dallas Mavericks, I was a little shaky on them after that first whooping by the Clippers, but it looks like they calmed down a little bit. And it's a pretty balanced matchup. Like, neither team has significant advantages. Otherwise, you'd probably give the defense to the Clippers, but offensively, you're probably going to give that to the Mavericks. How do you see this thing playing out? It's tied up 1-1, but now the Clippers, they got to head down to Dallas. So you can't say Mavericks did their job. They still won on the road.
I think game 6 or game 7 for sure. I kind of felt like with Kawhi being out there, like they were just trying to run things through him a little bit instead of doing a little bit more of what they did the first game. Not to say that not to get him involved, but kind of just get him back into things and whatnot and everything like that. It's having Kawhi back, hopefully, knee is fine and everything like that. With him and PG being, two-way, guards, I think, them and some of, their bigger men are going to have to step up for, what's stopping, the Mavericks on the offensive end and whatnot. Luka is a glorified James Harden. I told you that last night. He's all offense, no defense. D-Book is the same way. But, he doesn't get –
at least give him that. D-Book's at least a small guy out there, so you can understand it a little bit more.
Offense, when Harden was doing it, it was 1 minute, it's the greatest thing ever. The next minute, it's the worst thing ever. They don't even talk about Luka in the same way, which is crazy because it's like he's a liability on defense. That's what he is. He's an excellent scorer. Don't have anything bad to say on the offensive end, but so if you are one of them nights to where he's off, then you're 4 playing against 5. So I still give the edge to the Clippers. They got out of there by 3. And it just they did what they were supposed to. I don't think they'll win 3 games. That's just me personally.
Okay, so yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I get your critic with Luka. I do think though James Harden, he got put in a lot of tough spotlight situations, stuff that's totally not even fair. I mean, Luka gets caught in the club once, maybe we'll start hearing the negative side of Luka Doncic as well, but that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. Whether fair or not, it makes one negative story.
Does he show up where he's supposed to be? Yes. Is he on time? Yes. Does he perform? Yes. So why are you worried about what he's doing off the court? If he's not getting in trouble, if he's not breaking any rules, what do it matter?
Oh, I'm with you there. That started with the out of shape is where they really start getting at James Harden. You can't say Houston, not a great look for Harden. Not a great look.
He was still giving you 30.
When he wanted to be there. He's like, yeah, Houston was not a great departure, but I can somewhat understand why he wanted to force his way out of there. But James Harden's still a fantastic player. I don't care what you say. Frustrating at times if you're rooting against him because he is just a masterclass at drawing fouls the same way Luka is now. And part of that, the refs, here you go, superstar calls. They'll just give them to you sometimes. We've seen many superstars be the beneficiary of that. But I do think with Luka, this is kind of a big year for him because he kind of came and exploded into the league. And especially in that the quote unquote bubble tournament, that was the first time people are really looking around like, who is this guy just completely taking over the Clippers? Ironically, the same matchup as the Clippers once again. So I do think a little bit of revenge possibly for Luka on one try to win this one, but it's a big year for him and his legacy. Still young, but this would say a lot if you could beat a Clippers team that has a Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden. And yeah, Kawhi Leonard, not 100%.
And Russ.
Yeah, and Russ. I'm glad you said that. Shout out Russell Westbrook. I love seeing this second I want to call it, second coming of Russell Westbrook. Really figured out this new style of play, but he still has all the energy out there. Had a great block at the end that really gave the Clippers a shot to try to get over the edge, but unfortunately they just couldn't convert on the next time down the court. But Russell Westbrook's been playing amazing, and I'm sure the Lakers are kicking themselves. They just love letting good players go, thinking it's the player's fault, and then hindsight being 2020. No, you just weren't using them properly. Alex Caruso, KCP, Russell Westbrook, Julius Randle, Jordan Clarkson, the list goes on and on and on. Lonzo Ball, Kyle, they just love letting everybody go a little too early, in my opinion. But when you get LeBron and AD, I can understand some of that with Ball, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram. But again, I just think we're a little too quick to let some of these guys go. We could talk about the Lakers and Nuggets, but I mean, that thing's a wrap for me. I'm kind of there. Sweep, maybe not a sweep, but definitely Nuggets all the way. But let's go ahead and switch over to the spring game. It's coming up Saturday. We talked about it, and we got some quotes as well. And I just want to start out here because you did talk about one of the things you're looking at, key position groups that you want to keep your eye on was the running back position. And we do got quotes from Satterfield in his press conference. Is anybody stepping up at that running back position? Here's Satterfield's quote.
Really, they're all pretty much just they have their own little things that they do well. And, we're just challenging them to go out and make plays and make people miss. We want to see guys, if they're in open space, not to get tackled by safeties or corners or DBs in general. So who can make people miss and who can hold on to the football and who can win in pass protection.
That's a little bit of coach speak there, but then we got some more on losing Gabe Irving and Ramir Johnson on the same day. Obviously, another big development.
I mean, I think it's the way that Coach Rule designs practice that saves us. I mean, you got to have 3 or 4 running backs ready to roll just because it's such a physical toll that their body takes week in and week out, day in and day out. So I think just, you look up and you lose both those guys. You're going down to your 3rd and your 4th guy on the depth chart. They better be ready to go in and execute at a high level.
So that right there, I mean, some quotes on the running backs there. Again, still so far out. They're not going to give you all the details. But you got any concerns with the running back room, just kind of the way it's shaking out right now?
No, because I mean, your third guy stepped in there and showed, what he can do. So, I wasn't. I love, I was all for Grant. The other kid, I wasn't too high up on. It was Irving, right? Gabe Irving.
Yeah, Gabe Irving.
Yeah, I wasn't too high up on him. I don't think they use Grant as they should have, and I understand the fumbling thing and whatever. But I mean, you had your third guy that came up out of that. Just imagine if you would have used him and Grant the right way and whatnot. So I mean, it's good to have another set of eyes or a coach that's more comfortable in that room to bring the best out of players and whatnot. You hit the transfer portal from some stuff. You got some young guys stepping up. So clearly those guys were on their job, doing what they're supposed to. So I just want to kind of see the versatility and kind of get a snapshot of who that room is and what do guys bring to the table.
Yeah, I'm going to be curious if it's a little bit more running back by committee again, or if we pick a guy like you talked about, Anthony Grant. I thought he should have been the bell cow. It gets tough.
Easily.
Like I can partially understand because you want to give him more carries, and even then, I'm
but your quarterback is turning it over 30 times, and you still sticking with him. So I mean, which philosophy are you with? Are you?
This is where I was going.
Huh?
This is where I was going with.
Go ahead.
The defense knew that too, and they would load that box up like crazy because they were very confident that they could have pretty light coverage out there and still trust their defense to win more often than not against those wide receivers. I still, again, playing devil's advocate, I still think they should have used Grant. I still think that's your best option. I think you just got to keep forcing him and hope that defense gets hit hard enough. And if you got to do a little bit by committee, fine. But I thought he needed to be that lead guy always. Should have been, I think a lot more production last season. But yeah, when it comes to the running backs, it's just going to be curious how they really play this thing. With those two quarterbacks, young QBs, Harburg, how does this offense shift? You obviously got Thomas in there, a QB coach, Satterfield. I'd imagine that play calling is going to be a little more spread out, or at least more conversations before the game starts. So it's going to be interesting to see how are they going to utilize that balance between the run and pass game. What would you personally like to see just right now with what you think we have for that split between the run and pass?
I mean, you got to kind of take, this with a grain of salt. Like this is not going to be how things are going to be during the season. So, I mean, they'll probably try and be 50-50 as much as you can. Again, like I told you, this is kind of a scouting thing to see what guys have and whatnot for around the conference. So you're not going to call anything wild. You're not going to call, some of your stronger plays and everything like that. So, I mean, like I said, it's going to be a bland, boring call. So with that, who's going to make plays? Who's going to, eye pop and do things, or, who's going to look, fast? Who's going to, break tackles, or, the first man doesn't tackle them. Or, who looks better, in pass pro and everything like that? Or which running back there next to the quarterback makes the quarterback more comfortable? I think that'll be a big tell too. Is the quarterback flooring him more so? You got a kid that's already been in the system for a year. It's different for him than it is the guy that's transferring in, that's learning that was learning all of spring ball and whatnot. So just the small things just to pay attention to and to see who's picking up, who's confident. And okay, he's ready to take the next step. They're just calling a light day today. So that's the things that that I'm going to be looking at, who's actually playing and who's not thinking.
Yeah, I'll be curious too, who's going to really come out as like, that guy's probably our best pass pro running back we got out there. I mean, that just matters a ton.
Who can catch out of the backfield,
Well, picking up the blitz, you can speak to that, like how crucial that is. If you got a running back out there that is just miscalculating where that pressure was coming from. I thought Grant did a good job last year. I was impressed by him. I mean, he met guys as opposed to he did a great job. But I mean, how important it is just to get a running back in there that's just not only adept, but very skilled at recognizing that defense and where the pressure is coming from to give his quarterback the best chance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and again, we got some more quotes here. I do want to talk about the wide receivers as well, but we got one more quote, and this is about Emmett Johnson and this scrimmage that came up. So here we got Emmett Johnson scrimmage. His thoughts.
Yeah, I think we're just playing at a really high level. You know, a lot of guys are out there. Some of the younger, receivers are making big plays, and I think we're just detailed with our assignments, which is the biggest thing. Is just everybody knowing their assignment and doing their assignment. And executing at a high level that led to success. But, we weren't satisfied with it. We know that we got to keep, working, and just one day is not going to define us. We're going to keep coming at you every day. So.
And you love to hear that. Definitely sounds like he's taking a leadership role. And then we got one more quote, Emmett Johnson as well. What is that next step for him after a very productive season last year? Whether you think he should have got the ball more or not, when he did have the ball, productive nonetheless.
Yeah, I would say I always had confidence, but I just feel like now it's like I've seen a lot of things, and, I'm able to take that next step and kind of like is rather than like if I mess up on a play, I'm looking at the things that I could have did better on it, just knowing that, I'm a step ahead of last year. I feel like with all my reads and just, I'm stronger, I'm faster. So I think I'm just seeing everything more clearly this season.
That part right there. I'm getting faster with my reads. I'm seeing everything a lot clearer. I just imagine that gives your quarterback just a massive vote of confidence when he's got a running back next to him that is very skilled at reading the defense as well. They can even point out some of that pressure, where it's coming from, know where to line himself up, and just how to help his quarterback out. And again, you talked about it. I think he could be even a bigger threat in the backfield. I'll be curious to see if that's utilized a little bit more. There's times last season where even that screen pass seemed hard for us. So it's hard to get the full extent of how good could he have been when you are taking that part of his game out. We would try it with Billy Kemp a lot of times, trying to get that screen pass out there, and it was tough. Like, it was hitting, it was going in the dirt, into his, calves, wherever it may be, just not where it needed to be a lot of the time. And that's not me trying to bash too much on Harburg. I'll again,
you just the fact that's just what it is.
It was what it was. It was a tough position to get thrown into. So hopefully the quarterbacks don't have that problem this year with the QB coach in place, fix a lot of those mechanics, because those got to be gimme plays. If you can't convert those, that just kills drives, kills playbooks, and it just gives the defense a vote of confidence when they see it. Can't even get the screen pass out. With that being said, though, we'll keep talking about it. We got some more quotes on the Husker wide receivers in Satterfield as well. So we'll keep it rolling here on the Don't Punt Hour. We got the morning Pierson-El, the host, as always, streaming in. Harrison Arnold's on the ones and twos. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a little bit.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career, or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
Hey, Husker Nation, Matt Davison here with 1890. It's an exciting time to be a Husker fan, and to keep that momentum going, we need your help. Nebraska's always been a leader in college athletics, and we're doing the same through name, image, and likeness. NIL is a unique opportunity for every Husker fan to have a direct impact on the success of our programs. Through 1890, 100% of your contribution goes to the student athletes. So go to 1890nebraska.com, choose your sport, become a member, and help the Huskers recruit and retain the best. Go Big Red.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
If the week's been too hectic to even think about dinner, or your family can't handle one more night of leftovers, then it's time to let Hog Wild do the cooking. Hog Wild's family packs are one heck of a good deal for a complete barbecue meal loaded with all the smoked meats, tasty sides, buns, and sauces you need to feed your family. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
The need in our community, if you just look at the numbers, it's frightening. We're serving over 1,000 kids every day. With the passion of our people, I really feel like our potential to be of even greater service to kids and families who are struggling is just unlimited. But in order to have the greatest impact, we need all the help we can get from the community.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for ready mixed concrete, Husker concrete, and Beatrice concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they pay for CDL training. Apply today and start your new career with a $2,500 hiring bonus. From Nebco's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
This is Coach Bill Bush. You all know my passion for Nebraska. Having coached all over the country, I can honestly say there is no place like Nebraska. You know where there's also no place like? Midwest Bank. Midwest Bank has proudly served Nebraska for over 70 years, and they're located in 9 different communities. Midwest Bank is ready, willing, and able to meet all your personal, business, and agriculture needs. Your community, your bank, and mine, Midwest Bank. Find out more at Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
Your business runs like a well-oiled machine. It's important that your actual machines do too. Stern is here to make sure you don't have to worry about that. They provide solutions for heavy equipment and automotive fuels, lubricants, and equipment guard options. And with Stern's commitment to customer service for the past 40 years, you know you have a partner to help support your operations for years to come. Contact Roger at Stern Company by calling 1-800-477-2744 or visit them online at stern.co. Stern Company, where problems meet solvers.
The Mill Coffee and Tea, formerly with only 4 Lincoln locations. Guess what?
What?
There's 5 Lincoln locations now. Oh my gosh. That's 25% more Lincoln locations than there used to be. Can you even imagine a world where there's only 4 Lincoln Mill locations? Feels like ages ago. We were all so young then. The Mill on 11th, located right alongside 93.7 The Ticket Studios, 1040 O Street.
Hey guys, it's Bill Bush. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty has opened a new location in Pender, Nebraska, in addition to their office in Lincoln. The real estate world can be confusing, so why wouldn't you want an expert helping you every step of the way? If you're looking to buy or sell farmland in Nebraska, Kansas, or Iowa, give Ethan Sorensen a call today at 402-380-0432 or visit them online at nextagrealestate.com. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty with locations in Lincoln and now Pender, Nebraska.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, DeMornay Pierson-El.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weeknights. Once again, Harrison Runs on the ones and twos. Host, as always, DeMornay Pierson-El screaming in on the Don't Punt Hour. We got some more Husker spring game talk coming up. We'll kind of dive in on the wide receivers. Who do we expect to show out or just continue to develop as we get through the spring game and closer to fall? But I do want to point this out before we even get anywhere with wide receivers. This one, shout out from Husk Guys. Did the fact checking. Always appreciate it when tweets are not just spewing nonsense. This one checks out the big rankings of number of players who have entered the transfer portal. So
I've seen that.
Yep, April 30th is that deadline. So we're still got about 6 days before we can go ahead and pin this conversation. So still 6 days, but as it sits right now, Illinois 15, Michigan State 15, Michigan 11, Indiana 10, Minnesota 8, Northwestern 8, Wisconsin 7, Ohio State, Penn State, Purdue all 6, Maryland 5, Iowa 4, Rutgers 3, and Nebraska 0. What does that say about the program? Either we're paying these guys a ton of money or they believe in what's happening.
I'll probably say a little bit of both.
Yeah, that's probably more fair.
You're getting the right guys here. They're like where things are headed. That they believe that they can make a change and make a difference. Right where they're at versus going somewhere and starting new. So that's that's real good.
Yeah, I mean, it does give me some hope because especially with the portal that it is now, I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe a couple of guys still head out the door. Not because they're just not about the program, but just for a better opportunity. I'll never hate on a player for going out there and just trying to find something that's best for them. But to have a class like this and everyone's sticking together, despite once again coming short in a bowl game, we've seen in years past where we get all this hype and it doesn't turn out. And then here comes the portal hits. Scott Frost, one point in time, just felt like we kept giving more time. And then we're 3 years in and we got a bunch of freshmen and sophomores playing because guys were hitting the door, and that just kills programs. So to see this, despite not going bowling in year one, despite all the momentum behind it and all the belief, they're still sticking around. So I do give credit to Matt Rule for what looks like keeping that locker room together and the NIL department. I mean, that's just a real thing of college sports today. So it does speak that at least when it comes to the finances and taking care of players and just understanding the game of today, whether you love it or you hate it, you turn it on every Saturday, and it's pretty damn awesome to watch. It's just part of the game now. We're taking care of that. By the most part, that's what it looks like. I mean, we did get Dylan Raiola and Daniel Kalen. I'm sure those guys had a tag on them, along with Jamal Banks we'll talk about, Dante Dowdell, 4-star running back. We must be doing something right in that department in terms of taking care of those guys and also just instilling the belief that this is the right spot for you. So good number to look at. It shows that there is quite a bit of trust. But let's talk about the wide receivers. How important is this area for you to get some real guys in there this year? Because to me, it means just about everything if this offense is going to have any chance to make some sort of leap. I don't care how good your quarterback is. You got to have guys to throw to.
It's very important. And I don't last year, I don't think we were able to really, judge that group a lot just because, we had guys that couldn't get them the ball.
Yeah, and injured guys at that as well. We had wide receivers having to step up in that role.
So you got a lot of young guys that got, good opportunities to play. We know that they can make plays in big times in the game, that they're fine and dandy. So, that's good to see them take the next step. It's definitely something you want to see. You went and got, some transfer portal guys to come in and everything like that are older to help, guide and everything like that, to share experience, to, not only, coming from a coach that kind of didn't play the position. Now you're kind of getting, that player coach with, the older guys in there that can kind of explain it from, the wide receiver perspective instead of, maybe the quarterback to wide receiver perspective. So, that group is, young and hungry. You got, two accurate guys that are gunslingers. So I expect, to see more consistency, to see more throws down the field, and, designing plays to get, those guys open and be able to show, what they do well and what they bring to the table.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And I am curious. We got to talk about a couple of these portal additions because I think, we talked about kind of the disappointing season last year when it came to our wide receivers. Again, tough. I mean, they got thrown into it. There was some big plays, especially Lloyd down the stretch of the season really found his groove, and Coleman early on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably had the best pass in Harburg's season all year was to Malachi Coleman. I'm blanking on what game that was. It's a beautiful pass, though.
It was a post on. He was on the left side. He was going towards. He was going away from the jumbotron. I don't remember. Maybe Indiana or Maryland, maybe.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's a great throw by Harburg nonetheless. And hopefully, he can mimic those mechanics because that one had the best looking spiral on all season. Gave him a lot of confidence, too. That's kind of when they started going on that run with Harburg at that quarterback position. Obviously, it fell apart, but nonetheless, Jamal Banks, Isaiah Neyor coming in here, 6'3". Jamal Banks, 6'4". Couple of big wide receivers out of the transfer portal. What do you like your odds on both of those guys, either, just taking those starting positions or even if they're coming off, just in terms of production? How high are you on either of those transfers?
Where did they come from? What schools?
As New from Texas and Jamal Banks. Let me double check here. He came from. Why am I blanking on him? I know Neyor's from Texas. They're both seniors this year. Let me do a real quick fact check.
Clearly, you don't go and get seniors and expect them, not to be a part of the offense. So, will they be starting? I don't know, but will they be in a rotation? Probably, absolutely. Now, whether where at, if that's your X and your Z, and you keep Lloyd in the slot, or whatever it may be. But I mean, you got height. So even if we get into the red zone, jump balls. That's what it is. Easy matchup. That way you at least got some type of versatility instead of just handing it to the running back or whatnot. So I mean, you expect them that they're coming from one of them's coming from the Big 12. Wait
for ACC is Banks.
Get two good conferences for receivers, so they should be polished. They should be threats down the field and everything like that. So again, you got these guys. Last chance to stamp their careers to hopefully with dreams going on to the NFL. So I assume you're going to get their best punch. Mm-hmm. So like I said, you got two young guys that can throw the ball, that can get them the ball. It's a lot easier when a guy is taller than shorter. So I expect things to be, going down the field definitely more this year. You don't bring, the number one quarterback in here to not throw the ball down the yard.
Exactly. I'm right there with you. The height matters a lot to me.
For sure.
Mainly those red zone issues we had, that's going to help a lot. You can put those in the corner.
You get to the 25 and in, it's give him a fade.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Like that makes simplify the offense. That makes things easier. That way, teams are gonna have to, respect and not just, stack in the box. You can stretch things down the field. So that definitely helps out a lot.
Yeah. And again, we've talked about those red zone woes last year. It's just I think, especially, if we get that playbook figured out, if knock on wood, the injuries stay clean for the most part, that just adds a lot more to the playbook where you're not so limited. And I think despite our run game being so good last year and consistent, when we got to that red zone, it bogged down for obvious reasons. We just didn't trust our guys to put it in the air. Early in the season, it led to interceptions that cost us the game where just take the field goal. Terrible coaching. Late in the game, we take the field goal. We should have taken the touchdown. Terrible decision. It just was a brutal decision regardless. You were only going to keep the fans happy if you won because I think it was just that limited.
Yeah.
And, you fans can hate me or like me or hate me for saying that, but that was just tough. I don't care. You put on that coaching hat and the headset, good luck. I mean, that is tough to predict how this thing is going to turn out. You don't want to put it that you have no faith in your offense to make that pass. But at the same time, if they turn it over, everyone's going to be looking at the coach, not the players. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm excited for it. And Banks, 10 starts for Wake Forest 2023, 59 receptions, 653 yards, led the ACC in receptions per game. His season high was 108 receiving yards. He can be a dude for us. And again, I like what you said there. These guys are looking at
he's used to frequently, having targets and everything like that. He's a rhythm player. You get him going, that's fine and dandy. You got a young quarterback, you give him veteran receivers that are going to help him, period.
Yeah, and you got some even young guys that, if worst case scenario, even just guy needs a rest, at least we got some guys that unfortunately had to step in, but in the long run, it should work out better. Where those guys, they've been there, they've seen what it looks like at that high level, and they've gotten some reps and even some touchdowns with it as well on some of the best, exciting plays of the season last year. I mean, any long ball that led to a touchdown was a rarity. So Malachi Coleman, Jalen Lloyd, and we haven't even talked about Isaiah Garcia Castaneda yet, another guy who's going to have a chance to make a return. What are your thoughts on Isaiah Garcia Castaneda? Likely, I'd imagine, to kind of slot in there at that third spot.
Why you say he's sliding at the third?
I like those transfers, man. That height and their resume. I like those guys a lot. And Isaiah Garcia Castaneda, I'm just not sure.
Jalen Lloyd, period.
Okay, I'm down for that too.
Period. They can't touch him. You give him a year fully, in the off season and whatnot. He's a third receiver. He might be one or two. I think he'll be the starting slot. They might mix him, outside and whatnot and everything like that. The transfer kid, like I said, it's fine and dandy. Jalen's out there. Period. When they call for the ones, Jalen's out there.
I'm good. I mean, I'll give you that. I mean, what he did last season was impressive, especially at his age. And let's get some quotes on this as well from Satterfield. I believe we got some wide receivers. And good news as well. Wide receivers showing out in scrimmage. Here's Satterfield's comments.
Yeah, I'm not going to mention names because I'll always forget one, but I was really pleased. Challenged the receivers. Scrimmage one, we had a lot of drops, tight ends, running backs, and receivers, and we limited by a large number of the drops that we had on Saturday. But there's a lot of guys that made some explosive plays with their legs, went up and got it, used their bodies. So that was really good to see. That's what we were expecting to see.
That's what I like to hear. Talking about those explosive plays where they got to make an effort on what could be a tough ball, but they're good enough to go ahead and bring it down. He mentioned he's not going to bring up names because he's going to forget a few. I think that's just smart as a coach to not go ahead and pin yourself in a corner. But I do like that. And I think that's exactly what we're talking about. We got some guys that can make some 50-50 plays, make some athletic catches, and just do the things that we weren't able to see last season. And then you got some young guys in there as well. Alex Bullock, I'm not sure what his role is going to be, but he's got reps as well. So our wide receiver core, they got experience. We got some new veterans in there. And that, I mean, how important is that, especially when you got young quarterbacks in place, to have wide receivers that can just give some trust to those quarterbacks to give them a 50-50 ball?
It'll be good. It gives the quarterback confidence, with throwing the ball. It gives them confidence, in certain things to look for. And once he starts, once the quarterback starts getting comfortable and understanding, he'll call certain shots or I like this, more and everything like that. So you want, guys in more trusted guys or guys who've, played a long time and understand, how the game goes and everything like that. With those guys coming to the Big Ten, the game is slower than it is in the ACC and in the Big 12. So, that could help them a lot because they're used to, playing at a faster tempo, faster pace and whatnot. But, it helps your quarterback, develop an understanding, okay, well, this is a guy that's, that's been there at this level for a couple of years, let me see what I can get and kind of bridge this and everything like that. And, it's giving, a young quarterbacks a strong foundation.
Yeah, I'm with you there. We got one more quote in this one. Shout out to the Ticket's very own Steve Sipple for asking the hard questions on what has been the Achilles heel of Nebraska football since, man, you could go back, shortly after Bo Pelini. It's been a long time, too long. Even with Bo Pelini, that was at times be an issue. Steve Sipple asked the question, has the turnover problem been improved?
Through spring, how has the turnover picture looked?
Well, I don't even want you to ask me stuff like that. We've improved.
As you
now I'm going to go out to the next practice. There's not enough wood to knock on. We've improved.
I just love that quote right there. Even Satterfield is aware of. I can't even explain all the turnovers last year. That is an ultimate knock on wood moment. To hear that they've improved, that's probably all we're going to get. How much are you buying into that? That this turnover problem, we're going to see improvement. It's crazy to think we can go lower, but we've said that for how many years in a row?
I think it'll be better than, like I said, I think it won't be as bad as last year. But again, you have two freshmen that are one or both might play. You never know. So you got true freshmen at quarterbacks. Turnovers are going to happen. Turnovers are a part of the game. Fumbles are going to happen, Hopefully it's just not as bad as it was last year, which I don't think it will be.
I don't think it will. I mean, it'd be hard to match that one. That is unfortunately kind of put it on the frame, low light record. With this, I'll just ask you this, negative or positive turnover ratio to end the season? What are you expecting? Be a significant jump to be in the positive from last season.
I don't think I think it'll be. I don't think it'll be in a negative. Like I said, I think within the first 4 games, within the first 6 games, because you kind of get the Big Ten play. Big Ten play is something different. They operate differently. So I think the first 6 games, the first 4 games, you'll see stuff. You'll see them making, freshman mistakes and everything like that. By the the 4th game, things should be cleaned up and everything like that. You probably won't see, the same mistakes over and over again and everything like that. Oh, that tricked them. That probably, won't get them the same time. And then, by the time you get to your 3rd, Big Ten game, okay, this is what it's like. They understand preparation. They understand things. So I don't think will be in a negative for that margin. I expect more, turnovers early on in the season just because thrown in the fire, playing at a university, coming out, having a lot of pressure on you, and how the fans are and everything like that. Hopefully, the kids don't let, what people say to them too much and throw them off their game. But you got 3 guys because Rule's an offensive guy as well, that will put together something to put the kids' best foot forward. And these are actually kids that actually fit what they want to do. So I don't think they'll be handcuffed with not calling stuff and not be able to run stuff.
How important is it too? I think this is a key note in this is they're going against Tony White's defense. That's a tough defense to read.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you think that expedites that learning curve for them? Because even when you were at Nebraska, I know you weren't playing the quarterback position, but there was years where that defense was stingy. How important is that? Just have a legit defense to be going up against, and can that really expedite the process for those guys?
Yeah, iron sharpens iron for sure. So it's definitely important. You won't see the type of things that your own defense will bring. So it might have their heads spinning now and everything like that, but it'll be good for them to see the things and get used to it. And then when the game slows down, okay, I see these things that are about to happen, pre-read and whatnot. So it's definitely a good thing, but you still have some growing pains that are going to happen that you just, you can't not go through it. It's going to happen. Like I said, there's a lot of things that is going to be thrown at them that they'll see differently. And then the other piece of that is, how is the offensive line going to be? So you can't all just put it on the quarterback. The offensive line has a job to do. The receivers have a job to do. The offensive line got to protect. The receivers got to go make a play and whatnot. So it's just not all on the quarterback to carry that load and everything like that. But I think if the offensive line does what they're supposed to do, are not struggling, I think that's an upside to what the quarterbacks will be allowed to do.
Yeah, and that's a good point with the offensive line. We haven't spent a ton of time on them, but it's going to be it's cheesy to say, but it's true, especially when you're in the Big Ten. SEC, I don't care where you are. Look at Washington. They were able to dominate in the Pac-12. Rest in peace. You can't do much of anything if you don't got a line.
Period.
It's just game over. If you can't block the guys in front of you, if you can't give your quarterback enough time, the skill players just won't really matter that much because the holes aren't there. The wide receivers don't have enough time to run their routes. And again, you got some veterans in there as well. I think Ben Scott being there is just massive. Bryce Benhart, you still got Borkcher in there. Borkcher at the tight end position, but nonetheless, still solid on the line. And we still got to know what Micah Mazuka is going to do.
Mm-hmm.
He had some critical comments early on. What are your expectations for him coming in here? Obviously, we'll see, what he looks like, how many reps he gets out there, but what is your ceiling for him, at least coming here for year one?
That's hard to say. It's
the comments were perplexing early on, and I appreciate Matt Rule being honest about it. It's saying how he's got to still learn the culture, and it sounds like he has. It sounds like there's definitely been improvement for him, but he's one of those guys where he might be, the senior coming in here, he might be elite right off the bat, or he was so good at other places, it's still going to be a learning curve for him. But I'd imagine he's going to be out there starting. That's probably why you bring him in here. I think it's going to be a big part of this, especially at that right guard position. I mean, hasn't been solid for Nebraska in the past. But I mean, before we wrap up here, Good morning, Pierson-El. Spring game Saturday. NFL draft tomorrow. I got to ask you before we get out of here. NFL draft, give me the top 3 quarterbacks to go off the board first.
The USC Trojan, of course.
I hope it's the right move. I really do.
What if they trade to like the 3 spot and still get like, their second? I know they're not, but I'm just saying, I'm being devil's advocate. Jalen Daniels. Hopefully he goes to the Raiders. But I think that's a far reach.
Yeah, I think the Commander is going to nab that as quick if he's out there, which I'm assuming he will be. Williams, by all means, is going to be one.
I mean, you got Kingsbury. He's not a head coach. He's an offensive coordinator. I think he'll thrive. Period.
Yep.
I can't. I mean, you got McLaurin in Washington. And I think honestly, like if this JJ McCarthy thing goes off, I'm going to be sick. I'm going to throw up. I think Penix. Is the 3rd best quarterback. May straight. I don't like him. I'm not high on him. I like Penix.
What about Drake May?
That's what I said. I mean, Mays. I think it'll be between May and Penix for that 3rd spot.
Okay.
But I'm not high up on Drake May. I think he's 4th or 5th. I'll take Penix. Me personally, I would take Penix over May.
Yeah, I think Michael Penix. I'm surprised looking at, especially as a lot of these mock drafts.
May gives me the same thing as Trubisky. One hit wonder.
Don't do that to my guy.
Now in the right system. Now if Drake May goes to Minnesota, ooh, that's I can do that. I can see that. If he goes to New York, I don't know if New York will do that or if I've seen things where they said they like they've liked Penix. But if May goes to the Giants, maybe that's not terrible. Or if May goes to the Patriots, I'm not too sure. Like that's a lot of unknowns there. I'm not too sure. So it depends on where he goes. But I like Penix over May.
Yeah,
and it's not close. It's not close.
I love Michael Penix Jr. His game impressed me so much last season. I'm really surprised that he's not higher up on a lot. I get it. There's some things.
It's probably the injuries. That's what it is.
Yep, that's where I was going with it. But yeah, I think it's going to be that. I will be surprised where JJ McCarthy is going to be the biggest surprise to me, no matter where he lands. If it's anywhere early, I'm going to be surprised because every team out there was so scared of them running the ball that it should have been a lot of easy completions out there for you. And you still had good, solid wide receivers and a great offensive line that gave you a ton of time to make the right play. So maybe, a lot of people have him slated for the Patriots with that, like with the unknowns there. Like, I don't know if that's a great spot for him. I'm just skeptical. I could be dead wrong, especially just be real here. When we're talking about quarterbacks, it's been a massive crapshoot for the most part and trying to figure out which guy is actually going to pan out. You went look at Justin Fields' class. I mean, that at one point was talked about as the most loaded quarterback draft class in a century. And that one's really not panning out that well. So again, you never know. But I will be surprised if McCarthy gets picked up early, and even if he thrives. I think the Patriots is a tough landing spot for him. But nonetheless, we'll go ahead, wrap things up here. This has been the Don't Punt Hour. Shout out to DeMornay Pierson-El streaming in as always. And I'm Harrison Arns on the 1s and 2s. Don't go anywhere, though. We'll have Chancellor Brewington on the Allo VIP line up next. He'll join me for What's Brewing with Chancellor Brewington. The host, as always, DeMornay, appreciate the time. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.
See you.